Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In chapter 1059, we saw Teach, or Blackbeard, attack Amazon Lily, and his aim was to take Boa Hancock's life in order to gain the power of the animenomi. However, Teach's plans didn't turn out as he wanted, and it forced him to create a secondary plan. So in today's video, we're going to talk about this battle on Amazon Lily between the Amazon women of the Kuja tribe against Blackbeard's pirates and how it happened, how this conflict then ended, and what Luffy might do about this act of Teach once he finds out. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like or even consider subscribing and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or your favorite with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, in chapter 1059, we see the Marines attacking Amazon Lily, and the island is overrun with enemies. And even Glorioso worries that this is the first time that men have managed to invade the island on a large scale, causing destruction wherever they go. Boa Hancock is aware that they're on the island because of her, because the Marines are out to capture former warlords, but she refused to give herself up to these men because of course her pride would never allow her to do that. Hancock, using the power of her fruit, turned men approaching into stone. And while she began to do this, she also sat and kinda reminisced a little bit about Luffy, wishing that she was able to marry him, showing that she really wasn't at all worried about this conflict that was going on against the Marines. Seeing that they were outmatched and at a disadvantage, the Marines summoned their new pacifistas called the Seraphims, small children that we don't really know if they're living beings or robots, but were created from King, one of Kaido's pirates. Now, although we don't know exactly how many Seraphims there are, the two that have been produced have a king-like appearance, such as Lunarian, with the light hair, the dark skin, the black wings, and the fire on the back. But they also seem to have some physical characteristics and abilities and techniques of the former warlords. We see one little Seraphim with a female feature that appears in front of Margaret and Sweet Pea, but they don't want to fight this child, and the reason is revealed to us at the end of the chapter. This child had the same face as Boa Hancock, but had some very different characteristics such as the wings and fire on the back as we just talked about, as well as the ability to shoot a laser from her hands. And while the Marines were trying to invade Amazon Lily, Blackbeard's pirate crew shows up among the Marine battleships, and Teach uses his Gura no Mi to open up a space so that he can land on Amazon Lily. When Teach arrives on the island, he just expresses his desire to capture Boa Hancock because he wants to take her powers. He will not allow the Marines to capture her, so Teach advances where Hancock is, but is stopped by a Seraphim carrying a sword. We next see Koby appear in the middle of the fight calling Hancock's name, saying that he will not fight her if she just turns herself over to the Marines, promising that the sailors will leave the island if she just leaves without taking any more actions of violence. But Hancock refuses the proposal, saying that it was ridiculous for her to accept something like this. She would not side with the Marines nor Teach because she bows to no one, and she would fight them all if necessary. The scene shifts back again to Teach, where we see the continuation of the exchange between Teach and the Seraphim, and he realizes that the boy looks like a child version of Mihawk, and the boy attacks Teach using his sword, and although Teach manages to defend, the attack does cut a big mountain on the island in two. Fearing the power of this child, Teach then uses his darkness powers to absorb everything around him using a black hole, managing to get rid of the Seraphim, which also allowed him to get even closer to Boa Hancock. We next see Boa Hancock in the middle of combat, shooting slave arrows with her powers in all directions to nearby enemies, turning them all to stone, and not just Marines, but some of Teach's own pirates get turned to stone as well. Just as Boa Hancock is about to use another attack to hit the enemy still standing, Teach appears right in front of her and grabs her by the neck, and thus nullifying her power while everyone watches. Teach starts complaining that she turned some of his allies to stone and that now he would steal her power. But Hancock replies by saying that the power of the fruit is based on its beauty and is ineffective on users who do not possess such charming beauty. And what's more, if Teach took her life, those who had been turned to stone would remain that way forever. Not even the next user of the animenomi could reverse the petrifying effect that Boa Hancock had used on them. Changing tact, Teach then starts a dialogue with Koby, saying that this discussion will lead nowhere, and also calling him the hero of Rocky Port, an event that made Koby known throughout the Marine organization. Because, at least as he sees it, during this event, Koby unintentionally helped Teach by defeating the pirate Ochoku, also known as Wang Ji. This allowed Koby to be recognized as the hero, and Teach was able to become the head of Pirate Island. With Hancock still being held by his hands, Teach orders Hancock to turn everyone back to normal. But Hancock only says that she will do this if all the pirates and Marines leave the island immediately. But Teach doesn't end up trusting her, saying that the moment he lets her go, Hancock would turn him to stone. So he had no other choice. He would have to take Boa Hancock's life right then, right there, because he didn't want to risk something worse happening to him or anyone else, but especially him. Koby tries to intervene, saying that if Teach did this, so many more lives would be lost because he wouldn't be able to bring them back from Boa's petrification. But Teach does not listen to him, and he prepares to take Hancock's life. But then something unexpected happens. Rayleigh appears in the middle of the fight, ready to fight alongside Boa Hancock. And Teach and Koby are frightened by his presence, losing even the will to continue with their goals on that island. While drawing his sword, Rayleigh uses his haki and causes Koby and Teach's subordinates to just faint. And then he asks Hancock to return everyone back to normal and tells Teach and Koby to leave the island without doing anything stupid. Hancock is of course reluctant, but Rayleigh says that he will protect her in case they try anything foolish. So she shrugs everyone off and gets everyone back to normal. But then we see Teach's pirates and the sailors peacefully retreating from the island. But then we also see that Rayleigh did not arrive on the island alone. Shaki is accompanying him, revealing her true identity, being the ex-captain of the Kuja pirates from 2 generations ago. And then Hancock, Rayleigh, Gloriosa, Marigold, and Sandersonia start talking about this event. Marigold and Sandersonia report that they had seen a child with the same exact look as Boa Hancock, with just a few slight differences in characteristics, such as the color of the hair and the skin and the wings and the fire, but they also had star-shaped pupils, amazing endurance, and as well as the ability to shoot lasers out of their hands. The chapter ends with a Marine ship reporting the events that had happened on Amazon Lily, saying that the mission had been a failure because of Teach's interruption, and they also share that Koby had been captured by the Blackbeard pirates. We are then shown a picture of a newspaper with Koby's picture, while the narrator chimes in, saying that Captain Koby, the hero of the Rocky Port incident, has been kidnapped by Yonko Teach and his crew of pirates. As we can see, this confrontation transpired really quickly, but still caused great destruction on the island of the Amazon women, and it could have been much more catastrophic had Rayleigh not shown up at the exact moment he was needed, because if he hadn't, Teach would have taken Boa Hancock's life, and also would have been able to get the power of her fruit, and whether taking it for himself or giving it to his crew member, it still would have been an absolutely devastating thing for him to take. But something that's also equally impactful in this chapter was Koby's kidnapping, and the news was announced to the whole world. So at some point, Luffy and the Straw Hats are going to learn that Koby was captured by Teach. So besides learning Koby's fate, or at least what happened to Koby, Luffy would also find out about what Teach did on Boa Hancock's island and his own attempt to take her life, which is gonna get Luffy all the more enraged with Teach. And let's not forget, he already has business with Teach for his brother Ace. So now this is gonna be an even bigger thing for him to want to go out and defeat and take out Teach, because Koby may actually be in some very serious danger. And it's not gonna be just Luffy who's worried about Koby, it's gonna be the Marines too. And one really important one is Garp, who of course was responsible for training Koby, and during that time they created a great bond between the student and teacher. So Garp's not just gonna let Teach get away with this without suffering some serious punishment. And this means that Teach is really racking up some enemies, because he has the Straw Hats, the Marines, and now has the Kuja pirates, who all would attack Teach without question, because he's causing some serious problems for all 3 of these groups, and really seems to be becoming more of a chaotic force in the world. And we don't really know what his goals are with Koby, but it can't be anything good. A real easy situation to see would be Koby being used as bait. Now, sure, Teach might try and convert him and make him a crew member, especially having lost so many on Amazon Lily, but this is something that Koby would hardly accept. But still, he would be great bait to attract certain sailors or pirates to his kinda ground where he has the advantage. And the first person that comes to mind that Teach may want to coax his way is Luffy, because he may know that Koby and Luffy have been friends for a very long time. So Luffy might be easily lured to Teach if he found out his location. This is something that wouldn't be hard for Teach to do because he seems to be on a quest to get some kind of devil fruit power. So in future missions, Teach might actually have certain pirates in mind to steal powers from. Now, one of these people, of course, was Boa Hancock because of her ability to decimate troops and just pretty much take away any amount of enemies in just a blink of an eye. But after the awakening and maybe the information that's starting to leak around the world, Teach might also be looking to get a hold of Luffy's power now, because he may know how extremely powerful his fruit is, because after all, it did allow Luffy to defeat one of the most powerful Yonkos of all time. Now, whether Teach is in search of various devil fruits for himself, because there's a lot of ideas out in the community about him going for 3 devil fruit, and he may in fact be on the hunt for a Zoan fruit because he already has the world's strongest Paramecia and the world's strongest Logia. But he also could be looking for his crew, looking to give them incredible powers so that he could attract the most powerful and dangerous pirates in the world of One Piece. But as he collects powers, this is gonna little by little loom over the world, and Teach may become the center of this great battle that we know is gonna build in this final saga of One Piece. A conflict in which Teach may have been waiting to happen this whole time, playing the long game and manipulating all the pieces so they finally meet in one place. And a conflict that could favor him, because his enemies would be fighting each other, giving him the opportunity to steal the fruit of opponents who are distracted or weakened during the battle. This terrifying thought would make it possible for his goals to come true. Of course, until Teach manages to find the great One Piece treasure, obtaining it the great and mysterious power that this treasure holds, making Teach the king of the pirates. But with all that said, my friends, what do you think about it? Do you think Teach is really going for 3 devil fruits, and are you in that camp that thinks he's after some kind of specific Zoan fruit? Secondly, why do you think he's now finally starting to show his cards and make this chaos in the world? Do you think his long game really includes this great battle at the end of our story? And finally, do you think Koby's capture is enough to bring Luffy away from his goal of going after that final road poneglyph and therefore the One Piece treasure? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video, I want to thank you all so much for watching all the way up to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I really hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.